Okay. Yeah, they'll
She
start.
was.
They'll be on. So I wanted to first say happy birthday. I really appreciate you coming on your birthday and joining us, Deals and Heels. This is our second podcast, and you could be anywhere in the world, and here you are on our podcast, and you should be out celebrating. So thank you for that.
You're
We
very
really
welcome. I appreciate it. But you got to realize something. This is a celebration for me because the best gift that I can receive is the gift of knowing more people are living better around us. And that's, if you ask my wife, you ask my friends, like, there's nothing more important to me than being able to if I'm living here, I want to bring people here to this level. That's a gift for me because that means my life has purpose. My birth is meaning for the people around me. And that's the greatest gift for me. So I appreciate being here. This is cool.
absolutely. And I want to welcome any and all listeners. I want to introduce Ryan Alexander. I met him at an event. I instantly felt a connection with him. We talked about our backgrounds, and I just felt a real genuineness coming from you. Very compassionate, very helpful, very willing to share. And you already helped me with some credit tips, and I knew I had to share you with my audience. I didn't want to be selfish. So you're the first person that came to mind that I wanted on my podcast. So that means a lot to me that you're here with us.
Cool.
So,
I'm excited.
thank you for everyone who's listening in. And why don't you start, Ryan, by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Cool. So my name is Ryan Alexander, and I created a program called I Teach Credit. And it really started and stemmed from the fact that I was so sick and tired of credit repair companies ripping people off, taking a lot of money, not really teaching anything. They would give people a fish and say, sit back and relax. I'm going to take care of it. And I realized that most of those people didn't really get real results. They didn't really learn anything, and they didn't really go anywhere. 6 months, 12 months later, they were out a lot of money and still in the same shitty position, but they didn't really know what to do. Sorry. I don't know if you guys.
Nope. We're being real and raw here. It's okay.
Listen, don't tell me that because you better put your earmuffs on because it's going to get wild. So what I learned was I was like, wait a minute. Instead of giving people the fish, let me create an opportunity where I sell them the fishing rod and teach them how to survive on their own.
That's
Now,
awesome.
mind you, little background story. 12 years ago, I was dead broke. I was living in an office, sleeping on an air mattress. When everybody left the office, I was always pretending like I was working late and the first guy at the office. That's where I lived for a whole year.
Wow.
Very humbling when you're 35, 37 years old. You lose everything and you really don't really have a place to go. I had family. I could have made something work, but it was like, I'd rather live here and grind and figure it out, which is the third time in my life I crashed and burned. Ironically, backstory. Back when I was like 19, I got into commercial real estate. And it takes anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to close a deal. This unfortunate thing called 9/11 happened when I was 60 days away from a 6-figure settlement. Lost everything I was working on. Got into the insurance business, paid everything off. Got into the mortgage world right in 2007, 2008, and we know what happened there. World fell apart again. I had another startup that crashed and burned. 2011, I start another startup. I get $100,000 of financing and funding. The guys are like, this is a great idea. Hire a company. Doesn't work out. I give the investors $52,000 back. I said, you're going to lose everything. I lost everything that I had because I invested everything. I gave them back $52,000 and I said, I'm telling you, walk away. For me, that was huge because I was like, you know what? I'm at the bottom again. No big deal. That's when I got into insurance, lost everything, and I was living in, the office on an air mattress.
Wow.
Fast forward 12 years later, now I travel the world and I teach people how to take their everyday expenses like gas, groceries, utilities, Friday night fast food, flowers for your spouse, and I turn it into worldly experiences.
That's traveling, what we're about.
Beers on beaches around the world. That's going to be like when I start a new show, it's going to be beers on beaches around the world. Like that's going to be my thing. And it's simply because
exciting.
It's a lot of fun, but it does take work, right? And I think one of the biggest things is everybody today is looking for, like with credit, they're all looking for that magic eraser to just erase the negative history. Nope, doesn't work that way. Not if you want real results. And I think a lot of people are looking for the quick fix. That's not how the credit system works. That's why it's called credit history. It's all about the history that you have. And so what I learned, and this was January 24th of 2018. Not that I was counting, but January 24th of 2018, I was sitting having a couple beers or some wine or whatever on my couch in my little apartment. And I watched a video on Tai Lopez and this young kid named Stephen Lau. Stephen Lau was 20 years old at the time.
Wow.
And he was talking about credit. And he's like, there's a credit system. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Never heard it before. I knew what credit repair was, and I was interested in credit repair because I thought that was a great way to make money. I found out about the credit system, and I was like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me there's only 5 real factors that make up a FICO score or make up a credit score, and it doesn't matter whether it's Vantage score, FICO score, whatever? And that's all I have to do is I have to learn how to manage that, and I can do really, really well? Cool. I made an investment, made a stupid mistake, and I got this card right here. This card right here is what turned Amex Platinum card. This card is what turned me on to the world of credit because just a couple weeks after I got the card, I was flying out to Vegas to watch the Flyers play the Vegas Knights. First game out there. And it was the first time I had an experience at a Centurion Lounge, which if you've never been, they're really nice. What's really nice about them is they're always nice places, great food, open bar, open food, nice, comfortable seating, and I have outlets to charge all my devices. And I was like, wait a minute. This comes as a free amenity to this thing. And I'm like, I need to dive deeper into this whole credit thing. And that's when the passion was born.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what was, what motivated you to get into credit and then want to help others repair their credit?
Sure. Here's what motivated me. I was broke, making probably $60,000 a year, which isn't terrible money, but in today's world, it's really hard to get by on just $60,000. But
it is.
I got this credit card and I got a taste of the rich life. And the one thing, let me ask you this question, Christine.
Sure.
With this card right here, give me any thoughts that immediately come to mind the second you see this.
You have money.
Right? Now, here's what's funny about that. I was dead broke. I had $60,000 of income, no money, nothing. But that's what people think. What I think about it is 2 things. Number one, I do think that it is a status symbol.
Yes.
So I do agree with you that it's a status symbol. But here was the other thing I thought. What's the most common thing thought about when you see a charge card? You got to pay it in full. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. If I have this, I got to have good discipline. I better not screw this up. And then it was like, wait a minute. If I could teach other people daily disciplines on how to manage their credit profiles, how many people could qualify to buy a car? How many people could qualify to buy a house? How many people could qualify to buy a business?
Absolutely.
And then I just kept going further and further. And I'm like, oh my God, credit is the key that opens up a world of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
If you're smart, if you're responsible, and if you're disciplined.
Yes,
and
because
you don't need to have a lot of knowledge. You just have to be really disciplined.
Yeah. I help a lot of people, especially a lot of first-time home buyers, and it's always the thing that's hindering them when they're trying to get approved to buy a home. Their credit score is not where it needs to be. So all my people out there who are having that issue, that's why I wanted you to talk to Ryan, because people don't understand how important credit is and that you can repair it. But
yeah. And here's the thing. Credit's really simple. Like I have people that have gone and spent $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 on college education. They know zero about the credit system. And I can teach you everything you need to know in the credit system in less than 2.5 hours. Now, implementation may take you anywhere from 6 to 18 months, but I'm giving 17-year-old kids 700 credit scores within 30 days of turning 18.
Wow.
And they don't need their parents to co-sign for student loans by the time they're 19.
Wow. That is amazing, guys. So for someone like who really doesn't understand credit, what is like one of the main tips that you have to share with them to pull their credit score up quickly?
Sure. So the first thing I'm going to say is this: learn to invest in the credit system. Okay. It comes down to 5 simple factors. Now there's an actual 6th factor. I don't care what anybody says, not to offend you. I don't care what you say. I don't care what your mortgage person tells you. I don't care what your grandmother or your accountant tells you. Credit Karma is the greatest, simplest, easiest tool to learn credit and to monitor credit for free. Does it mean it's an accurate mortgage score? No. But if you look at my FICO 8 score, which is 828, and you look at my my FICO 8 score, which is 828, and you look at my mortgage score, which is a 786, does that mean one of them are wrong, or is it just a different algorithm?
It's just a different algorithm.
Exactly.
Sure.
If I look at a thermometer and one side it says it's 27 degrees and the other side says it's 84 degrees, are one of them wrong?
How
No,
far off is Credit Karma
it's not.
compared to the FICO?
That's the
Oh,
point.
it's just a different algorithm. Okay.
If one side says to you it's Celsius on the thermometer and one side says Fahrenheit, those numbers are off by a lot. Does it
Okay.
mean one of them's wrong?
Nope,
No.
it does
So
not.
let's change our thinking because we're told on the street the wrong shit. We need to get better educated on how the system works. Because guess what? While you're sitting there watching fantasy football stats and paying attention to your FICO scores, the banks are laughing at you like, you idiot. You're never going to make money off of your fantasy football. And if you do, it'll never come close in comparison to what your credit score will pay you.
This is true. Every
And so
time
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Every time I have a client talk to a lender, they say, "Oh, I checked my Credit Karma and it says this," and the lenders are like, "Don't go by your Credit Karma." I hear
Yeah.
it all the time.
So I can teach you what to look at. There's metrics in Credit Karma that if you look at, it'll give you a closer indication as to what your actual mortgage score looks like. But when you look at Credit Karma, it teaches you the 5 factors. Payment history, do you pay your bills on time?
It's down.
Credit card utilization. How much credit do you have versus how much credit are you using? Okay. If you have one credit card that's $3,000, chances are you're probably in trouble, or that it's really, really hard for you to maintain low utilization. If you have $236,000 worth of available credit, which is what I have, and for those of you who want to, and I always feel the need for a little bit of transparency. This is Credit Karma. This is my Credit Karma. Just for those people who are watching this, you can see my scores 811 and 814. Now, some people may have higher scores than me. Because I'm in the industry, I am constantly applying for new cards. And this card we want to make sure we talk about. You know what that card is, right?
I don't.
Oh, we're about to become best
Why
friends.
have you on here?
This card, you can pay your rent or your mortgage with this credit card. For 26 months, I've used the routing and an account number to pay my mortgage. Yes, I have affiliate links for this. I have paid my mortgage and earned 3,000 points per month for the last 26 months, paying my mortgage. It hits the credit card like a credit card transaction, but it pays the lender like an ACH, routing and account transaction.
Wow. See, I did not even know about that credit card.
I told you we're going to become best of friends, and I'm going to become best of friends with all your followers.
I've been in the woods, people. I've been in the dark.
It's okay. So with credit, you have credit card utilization. How much credit do you have versus how much are you using? And what most people hear, 30% utilization. Just keep your usage at 30% utilization. Wrong. I'll show you, if you ever work with me or my online community, I'll show you why it has to be under 10%. Wow. That doesn't mean if you have a $500 credit card that you can only use $50. You can use $500 every week. I have what's called a rule of 33. 3 days before your reporting date, you pay your credit card to 3% of the credit limit. That's the rule of 33. So that on your reporting date, it doesn't report more than 3% usage. I have what I call the 7-day credit cycle or the 7-day experiment. If every single person, every 7 days for 7 weeks, pays their credit cards to 0 weekly, I guarantee you everybody's credit score will go up. Every single one of them. Crazy, right? And you're like, I've never heard any of this stuff. Why? Because the banks don't want you to know, because then you don't pay 29% interest on your credit card debt.
Wow, that is amazing. See, this is why we have Ryan on here.
Yeah. I'm curious is Marco still watching?
He's still watching.
I'm monitoring.
Marco, have I said anything that you're like, wait a minute, I didn't know that?
And please ask questions. Please feel free to drop questions if you have some for Ryan. You have some issues and you want some answers. Ask now.
I want questions. The third thing, which is the factor that I was telling you, and if you do have questions, just stop me, interrupt me, just wave me down, stop me, okay? Like, I want this to be interactive. I'd rather talk about what's interesting to you in the audience than what I think is important. The third thing is,
I have a question I would like to ask, because when we do have clients that are trying to talk to a lender, there's issues on their credit, there's accounts there. They try to go and pay everything off. how do you work that? I know there's certain things that shouldn't be paid and should be. Do you know
Well, it's
anything
all
about them?
so here's the cool thing about credit.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's credit profile is like a Rubik's Cube. Some of them are really screwed up and hard to fix, and some of them are pretty simple and easy. So here's what I say to that. It's depending on the situation. There are some things, right? So like here's the order in which you pay off your debt, right? Let me just answer something real quick. So we have payment history, paying everything on time that reports your credit report. Credit card utilization. The third thing is age of credit history. Age of credit history is having open active accounts for a duration of time, because the longer the accounts are open and active, the more payment history they build. And what is your credit score? It's a history of your payment history.
Absolutely.
The fourth thing is going to be diversification. So I have depth, which is age of history, diversification. If you have one credit card and one auto loan, you may not qualify for a mortgage. This is why we want to build a credit profile and or a portfolio of the best credit cards. The last and final thing is inquiries. So they're the 5 factors that make up a FICO score or any credit score, because many people poo-poo Credit Karma. Guess what Credit Karma is doing now? Guess what the mortgage industry is doing? The mortgage industry is now using Vantage Score 4.0. Have you heard that?
No.
Vantage Score 4.0 is comparable to FICO 10T. It's not used by many, but the banks are testing it out, because the 10T and the Vantage Score 4.0, what it's doing, anybody who carries credit card balances over the last 24 months, your score is now going to get penalized.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're looking to screw you. And the banks are terrified. The last 3 months, I've had more people denied for Capital One than in the last 3 years combined. Capital One, if you used to have a heartbeat, Capital One would give you a credit card, even if it was a secure credit card.
It's
No
true.
more.
Wow.
No more.
It's getting tough out here, guys.
It's very tough. Now, going back to your question, if people have debt, here's the order in which you pay your debts. And this is going to be a
two-part down too, guys, because I'm trying to fix my score as well. I'm taking.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where, again, I teach a lot of the stuff. You guys can find me. If you search I Teach Credit on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, just please be careful. I have a lot of imposter accounts. It's really wild. You hit a certain level in social media, and then I have like 20 imposter accounts that are they all pretend to be me. Same picture, same name, different handles. It's scary.
That is scary.
So this is going to be a 2-part process. The first process is going to be how to pay off your debts. The first thing you always pay are open credit cards. Always pay open credit cards, and here's why. Credit cards and credit card utilization account for 30% of your FICO score. That's the first thing you pay.
Okay.
The second thing you're going to pay are any closed accounts that have not been sold as collections. So we have open accounts, then we have closed accounts. And you say, why closed accounts? Because I promise you, if you have closed accounts with American Express, Chase, first off, you don't want them going to collections. You definitely don't want them serving you papers or suing you for the money. And number 3, they may not forget. So if you ever do get your stuff all figured out and you go back and say, oh, I want to get a new Amex card, they'll be like, I had a guy, I took him from $550 to $740, applied for the Amex Platinum card, denied. And I was like, man, why? Let's call them and find out. Called up and he says, hey, why'd I get denied? They're like, you still owe us money from 2012. And he goes, I forgot about it. They're like, yeah, we didn't.
Wow.
I was in hysterics. I was like,
wow, that is insane.
But it's real. Like, once again, you may find some guy on the street that's like, I'll get that removed from your credit report. And then Amex is like, cool, guess what, sir? We don't forget you still owe us money.
No, they don't. Wow, that is something else.
The third and final thing would be paying collections. And here's my rule with collections. You never, ever go on a payment plan with collections. If you have collections, you either ignore them because there's a statute of limitations for 4 years, and there's no way you're going to remember all this stuff. So people are going to have to re-listen to it, and we'll probably do another hour-long session somewhere. Okay. But the second thing is you either settle them. You never go on a payment plan. You either let them go or you settle them for like 20, 30 cents on the dollar. Remember this, collection companies are like car salesmen. Sometimes they'll take whatever they can get.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay. I'm right
now. We're also going to go back and talk about when paying off your debts. How many people currently have credit card debt on an average of 24% interest? Here's the order in which you pay off your credit cards. Because some people will say the snowball method. Some people will say the card with the highest percentage interest rate. Here's the best method. The first thing you do is you look at the card with the highest percentage of utilization. If I have a card with $2,000 of maxed out credit card, and I have a credit card maxed out at $500, both of them are at 100% utilization. I'm not even going to put you on the spot. The card you pay off first, let's conceptually say you have $500. And I ask this question every single morning on TikTok.
Okay.
And probably more than half the people that like pay the card with the highest balance. And I'm like,
that's what I always look for.
And no, here's why. Because if I have a car with $500, this card's at $2,000, and I pay $500, I'm still at 75% utilization versus zero. And you're like, oh my God, it only took me $500 to take that to zero versus $2,000, and the $500 still leaves me at 75% on one card and 100% on the other card. Remember this: 0 to 9% utilization, you get points on your credit score. 10% to 29% is like neutral territory. Doesn't help you and it doesn't hurt you. The second you report 30% utilization and higher, you pop up on the radar, your score lowers, they may reduce your credit limits, and you lower all of your approval odds.
Wow. See, and I always go for the highest, whatever has the highest amount on there. I'm starting with that one.
And friends don't let friends make silly decisions.
Yeah. That's why we're going to be best friends, Ryan.
I'm telling you. And so when you look at paying them off, the first thing you look at is the card with the highest percentage usage. The second is going to be the card with the smallest dollar amount. $2,000, $500, pay that $500 off to zero. Let it report zero. And make sure it continues to report zero. That's where my rule of 33 comes in. 3 days before the reporting date, pay it down to 3% or zero. Make sure. I also have a rule of 803. 80% of your credit card should report zero. 80% of your credit card should report zero. The remaining portion of your credit card should report no more than 9%. Now, once again, because I like transparency, I'm going to show you. I'm diving into my Credit Karma again. I'm going to show you two things just so you can see. When you go in here, these are the factors that make up your FICO score, okay? We're just going to tap on credit card utilization. You can see the line graph, 0 to 9%, which it's actually not zero. You don't want to report zero on everything. You have to show some usage.
Yes.
0 to 9% is the green. You get points. 10 to 29% is the light green. 30 to 49% is the orange. And then 50% and higher is the red, okay? But notice something. You can see here my total available credit's $236,000, and I'm only reporting $264. That's called discipline.
That is discipline.
That's called having lots of money at my fingertips,
but not
being trustworthy with it.
Absolutely. Okay? It's hard when you have that credit card and you're in the store, ladies, and you see a nice, Louis Vuitton, Gucci bag, and you want to just keep
Yep, that $500 becomes $1,300 over the course of time because of 29% interest on it.
Yeah, gets us in trouble.
Yep. So the first thing you look at is always going to be card with the highest percentage. Second is going to be the card with the smallest dollar amount. The third thing is going to be the card that reports next. Okay. My highest bump is 102 points in 9 days for a client who had 2 credit cards maxed out, but he had the money. He was just spending. And he's like, I can't get higher credit limits because every month he was reporting maxed out credit cards. I had a State Farm agent. I taught in front of 200 State Farm agents. I said, you're going to implement one rule. He had 2 credit cards. One of them was reporting like 68% every month. I said, you're going to pay that credit card to zero every week. He goes, every week? I'm like, it takes 30 seconds. Shut up and do it. Okay. 3 weeks later, he sends me a message. He goes, SOB, you were right. I was like, what? His score was 806. It went from 760 something to 806. And all I had him do was pay a credit card to zero every week.
Wow. That is amazing, Ryan.
Imagine how many Americans right now, if they just learned at the age of 18, if you cannot pay your credit card to zero at the end of the week, you stop using it. It is not an extension of your income. It is called a financial tool.
Yes. Because I have a 16-year-old and I'm trying to teach him about the importance of credit. I want to get them started young so, they don't make all the same mistakes that I did and they can have a good future.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that because realize like your grades in high school.
Yeah.
Right. What do? That opens up doors of opportunity to college. your grades in college, what does that do? It opens you up to job opportunities, right?
Absolutely.
Your credit score opens you up to being able to go from the car that you like to the car that you love. How many people they have to settle for the house that they like versus buying the house that they love because their credit score is so low that it jacks up their interest rate and their insurance premiums.
And they buy a car before they buy the house.
I always say buy the car before you buy or buy the driveway before you buy the car. It works a lot better that way.
The house before the car. Also, I'm always told, like when I speak to lenders and I have clients, and they'll tell them a fast way to boost up their credit score is to get on someone else's account. Can you go into a little bit of detail?
That's called being made an authorized user, and that can help. I've seen that backfire.
Really?
Here's my 3 things for being an authorized user. Number 1, it has to be a credit card. For those people who do not know, credit cards have credit limits. Charge cards have no credit limits. They have what's called spending power. They look like a credit card. They report like a credit card. You can use them like a credit card, but in the credit card utilization component, they don't exist. Only credit cards do. So you want to be added to a credit card because the credit card then will give you a credit limit, which will help boost your credit score. Number 2, no missed payments. I have seen kids get added to a credit card of their parents, and the card's got 4 or 5 missed payments. Now the kid's got.
They don't give them the card. They just put them on there, but they're not actually.
You should never give anybody the card. I'm okay if your kids, if you have a 16-year-old kid or whatever, and you need them to have a card, cool. Give them a credit card and cap that card at like $100. I have a credit card with like a $10,000 limit. If I go to give it to my kids, I cap it at $100 or $150. I mean, if I know they're going someplace where they might need it, I'll open up the limit. I just call them up. Amex, I need you to cut that credit limit. Now, again, these are on credit cards. But you also need to make sure that the card has at least 1 year of history and low utilization. If you put your kids on a credit card that's got 75% utilization, that's going to hurt their score.
Absolutely. So what I'm talking about, guys, is I have a lot of clients, again, who might have a low credit score. And when we talk to the lender, they'll say, do you have anyone who will allow you to get on your account? So maybe a family member, they have a good standing credit card, and they add you to the account. And if they have a good score and a good history, it kind of boosts up your score quickly. But they shouldn't really give you the card. It's just basically a way to pull up your credit score a little quicker, right?
Definitely.
Also, I wanted to ask, let me see. Can you tell us a story about anyone that you have really affected and helped them, change their life by fixing their credit?
Sure. I mean, I can tell you countless stories.
You have many stories.
I have many stories. I have. What's that?
What's one that really stands out to you?
I had a single woman contact me and she said, Ryan, I really need help with my credit. I said, okay, what's the problem? She said, my kids are playing on the streets where people are getting shot every other day. And I need to boost my credit. She goes, I make the money, but I don't know how the credit system works. Nobody in my family knows how the credit system works. And I was told I can't have good credit because of how they were raised, where they were raised.
Bullshit.
I said, you give me 90 to 180 days and I'm going to transform the entire financial landscape of your future.
Awesome.
It took us about 4 months and she was approved for a house in the suburbs.
Wow.
And that woman cried.
I bet. And I bet you're her best friend now.
I mean, it's a cool story that, I get emotional. Like I met my wife. I tell the story all the time. My wife had a 450 credit score. And I straight up told her, we're not getting married unless we fix your finances. And people are like, you're an asshole. I'm like, really? Do the Yankees take on dead weight for their team? No. Why should any person? Right? And people are like, oh, that's harsh. That's mean. No, it's not. It's called life. It's called survival. Just today, my wife got approved. She had credit card offers for the American Airlines executive card. She got the luxury black card the other day. She's getting Amex Gold, Amex Platinum cards and offers. My wife, when she hit 700, she cried. I was sitting watching a Flyers game. I'll never forget it. She goes, oh my God. And I was like, what? And she went like this and she showed me her credit score. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. Why are you crying? And she goes, I've never had a credit score of 700 before. That's cool, right? Like that's inspiration. And then even more awesome, recently this year, my wife has booked travel for me that I didn't have to book. Not my card, not my points, not my doing.
That's amazing.
One of the reasons why I think my wife married me, even though I was really, really hard on her, is because I would be like, hey, we're going away next weekend or next month or whatever it is.
And on your card.
I had the credit card. I had the points, free hotel stays. I had her passport and her social. I booked everything.
Yes,
That's
and I
what
mean,
men need to start focusing on today. Not your fantasy football stats so you can kick beers around with the boys thinking I'm badass and bougie. No, you're not. Book a trip and tell your partner that you're taking them away, and don't tell them where until they get on the plane. That's badass and bougie.
That's very badass. And, you know, we talked about the background I came from. You know, I struggled a lot. I had some really hard times. I would have never, you know, back in that time, a credit card was like, yeah, right. I would never have gotten approved. I had no money. I was broke. I mean, you've heard my story as well.
Yeah.
And then when I started working at it and building my credit, and when I had that gold card in my hand, it feels amazing. You feel like, you know, a different person. And even when I'm out using that card, as soon as you pull that card out, they look at you a whole nother way. The service gets better. You get treated just way better. And it does feel really good when you can go on a trip and you can, if you want to, you know, buy a high ticket item or something, you have the credit to do so. If you want to buy a home, a car, a trip, you know,
But here's the thing: if you're going to buy an appreciating asset, I'm okay with that. But this is what Americans need to think about, right? Like, here's what Americans do: they're like, "I want it now. I'm going to pay for it later." No, what you need to do is you need to save for it now. Make the purchase on a credit card. Get the 1.5, 2, 4, 6%. I can get you up to 6% back on certain purchases. Use the credit card, get the points, get the cash back, and pay it off immediately and pay zero interest. That's the mentality that we have to have with regards to credit.
Have with a credit card.
What's that?
I said that's the mentality you should have, like when you have a credit card, or you can really get yourself in trouble. So
I was that guy. When I was in my 20s, when I thought I had a six-figure payday coming from commercial real estate, and 9/11 had happened. I was the guy who'd show up to the bar and line up 10 shots.
wow.
I went everywhere in a brand new Jetta with 2 30-packs. I was that douchebag when I was in my 20s. Well, my best friend was buying a house. He bought a house at 24 years old, and I'm like, what's this guy doing, right? I'm like, God, having the time of my life, and he's out there working 2 jobs. Well, guess who's got the last laugh?
Yeah.
Him. I'm now making up for lost time while he's sitting on a nest egg and a goose egg that I don't have. So, but that's okay.
What was I going to say? I also wanted to ask a question. So for a young guy starting out, young kids, 18 years old, and they're able to start, you know, getting into the credit world, what are your tips and any strategies for them, tips, tricks?
So I have this all mapped out, right? So anybody, and obviously we'll talk about where people can find it, but I have this all mapped out. I have a school community, okay? I literally teach the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s of credit. And it starts with the first thing, the very most important thing with regards to building your credit profile: get a job and build a budget. I don't care what anybody tells you. That's the first step of building credit. And people are like, that has nothing to do with credit. It has everything to do with credit. Because what do you need to do in order to pay credit? You have to have income. If you don't have income, you can't pay your credit cards. You can't. I don't care if you get a $500 Capital One card, unless you want to be trapped with them forever. You have a job, and you learn how to balance your income with a budget.
Absolutely.
Once you do that, then you download Credit Karma, free app. You go to Capital One, Discover, or maybe even like US Bank or something like that. Do a Capital One and Discover pre-approval tool. In the beginning, you never, ever apply for a credit card directly. Because if you're denied, and now you have an inquiry. And if you have an inquiry, that's like a hole in the ground with no offsetting plant.
Absolutely.
If you go through a pre-approval tool, they'll tell you, hey, maybe you only qualify for a secure credit card. Maybe you will qualify for a beginner card. You might qualify for something more. I have 18-year-old kids getting $3,000 credit cards. I did it in an airport lounge, and we recorded it. It was $3,000. None of us could believe it. It was one of my most viral videos on TikTok because it was like $3,000, right? Like, my wife, it was actually her response. With $3,000, like we all were like, eh. Meanwhile, we're in an airport lounge eating and drinking for free, and these young kids are like, oh my God, the power of credit.
Wow.
It can also be hard, right? Like, because kids sometimes take advantage of it. But the first thing I would do is go to a pre-approval tool through Capital One, Discover, maybe even Chase, right? There's a couple different things out there. and go with the card that they offer you, like Capital One Quicksilver, Capital One Saver, not the Capital One Platinum card. The Platinum card doesn't give any cash back. They will always offer you the Capital One Platinum card and something else.
Yes.
It's always a trap. And the trap is they don't have to pay you anything because you're uneducated. But you're like, oh, I got the Platinum card from Capital One. Must be big.
You feel good. Woo.
Oh, sorry. Great marketing, just like Credit One. People think Credit One's the same as Capital One. Nope, completely different. Credit One, predatory lending, because they know you have bad credit. If that's the only card you get approved for, that's why they offer it to you. Start off getting the pre-approval tool. You may not need it. Do not start with the secure credit card. Check first with the pre-approval tool. I don't care if they give you $300. It's not about the credit limit. It's about having the trade line open. And a credit card, auto loan, personal loan, mortgage loan, student loan, they're all considered trade lines. Somebody asked me today, what's a trade line? Anything that reports to your credit profile. And they're the 5 types of accounts. Revolving, which is credit card, personal loan, student loan, auto loan, mortgage loan. All right?
Okay.
So start with that and then implement my number one strategy, PTZW, pay to zero weekly. Pay your credit cards to zero every single Sunday, because Monday morning when you wake up, the money comes out of your bank account and then that money goes right to your credit card.
Okay.
You paid on Friday. When you get paid, guess what? It's not going to come out of your bank until Monday anyway.
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
make sure you just pay your credit cards on Sunday to zero.
I appreciate all this valuable information. I'm just trying to check. Do we have any questions?
Yes.
Okay. We have some questions for you.
Let's go.
Excited.
So we have Doug on Instagram.
Doug.
Wants to know what happens when his credit is already taken to creditors who are hounding him because he hadn't paid his credit cards.
So the question you have to ask first is, how much is it? Number one. Number two, what's your current situation, right? Because again, the statute of limitations is 4 years. If you have conversations about it, that triggers that statute of limitations it basically starts over. So you don't answer. If they're going to sue you, you just have to go on a payment plan. Like at the end of the day, this is the problem in America. We think, oh, life is unfair. You should pay my bill. Worst mindset mentality you could ever have, because that's going to keep you broke for a long time. The answer is, if there was no government, what would you do? You would be screwed. So figure out how to make more money, right? I always say this, and you can tell me you're in the real estate world, both of you guys. 40 hours a week is a luxury.
That is very much a luxury, because
It's a luxury.
we work from the time we wake up and till the time we go to sleep. We're just working and trying to find ways to make money. And that's what it is. You have to hustle every day.
I started work at 7 o'clock this morning. It's
Yeah.
my birthday.
I know. And look, you're here now with
I
us.
don't care. Do I look miserable?
No, you look.
I love what I do. So
That's
to
what
answer your
it's all
question,
about.
Doug, you got to pay off. You got to figure out a way to get on a payment plan with them or settle the debt. Settle the debt, because if they sue you or they put a lien against you, now you're screwed.
Now you're
Next
losing.
question.
Next question.
Also from Doug, what happens once you settle the debt with the if he bought down, have to pay the full amount? What happens to the other amount? Will it still report on his credit?
No, on the credit report, it'll say zero balance, settled for a lesser amount. So let's say conceptually, if settling that debt would boost your credit score 17 points by paying it in full, if you settle it for a lesser amount, it might boost your credit score by 13 points. And it'll say in the remarks in that account, it'll say settled for a lesser amount.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay, no, so far that's the only one that's come in, Doug.
So now the fun part. I always hear you talking about your free traveling, your free trips. Tell us more about that, and where's one of the best places that you've traveled to for free?
So again, I like transparency. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Look at that.
Can you see that number?
1,886,765 points. Wow.
Cash value, that's $18,000 to travel. If I transfer that to transfer partners like British Airways, Virgin Atlantic, Air France, that's over $36,000 of free travel.
Wow. That's
The
amazing.
greatest thing ever. So this is a really cool story. A year and a half ago, my youngest was selected to play at a camp in Barcelona.
Oh, wow.
We when we booked it, my other cousin's really, really good, and I also partnered with another influencer on TikTok. We booked him a first class ticket.
Wow, that is amazing.
Kid was 11 years old.
Awesome.
We got on a plane. Now, normally I always say you've never really flown until you've gotten on an airplane and turned left on the plane. You get on, you always turn right, right? When you get on a big jumbo jet, you turn left. That's where first class is, or business class.
Yeah.
This plane was an older plane. We got on, we turned right, and there's these pods, and he looks, and we're like, hey, buddy, this is your seat. And he's like, wait, what? And he and mom both started crying. It was the coolest thing ever.
And once you go first class, you don't ever want to go back to coach.
It ruins everything else for you because you're like,
never want to go back.
Wait, I got champagne before the plane even closes the door.
Yes.
I got warm towels to clean my face and my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give you a wine list and a full menu on the flight. You're like, wait, what? And the coolest part was all I had to pay were the taxes. Now you never get away from paying the taxes, but that's the cool part. So like that was the coolest thing. And we also did, my wife and I, we were fortunate enough almost 3 years ago, 2022, I was in 8 different countries in 1 year.
Wow.
Aruba, Bermuda, Germany, Spain, France, Italy, England. Like I traveled.
I want to be like you when I grow up, Ryan.
Listen, I still want to grow up. Trust me. But when I tell you, when you have wines and beers and pizzas from around the world, I promise you, European food is not the same.
It is
Not the same. And you don't have to be rich to get a taste of it. Just invest in good discipline and invest in good credit and take your daily, everyday expenses and convert them into experiences. And that's what I do. That's why my program is called I Teach Credit. I'm going to show you the path. I'll hold your hand through the process, but you have to walk it. And if you walk it, I promise you the land of Oz is very magical.
It really is. So you have to want it. Ryan can only do so much because like when I'm working with my clients, they want a home. And sometimes I feel like I want it more than they do. They want it, but they don't want to put the hard work in. You have to put the hard work in.
Let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find foreigners have a very different work ethic than Americans?
I do.
I see it every day. I see foreigners. They're like, I'll pay you a lot more if you can make that happen.
Yes.
And we do the work. Americans are like, I'm going to think about it. And I'm like, bro, you have a 530 credit score. Your girl's got to buy this house by herself. What are you thinking about? Like, that's embarrassing. And I feel like we have no shame in our world today.
Yeah.
And we need to change that mentality. But we need to provide the resources and the education. And we need to not make it shaming. We're like, hey, you suck. No, you only suck if you do nothing about it.
Yeah.
If you're in a shitty situation, cool. So was I. My name is Ryan Alexander. I know how to fix that.
Yes.
But I can only tell you what to do. I'm not going to go to work for you. I'm not going to get new cards for you. I'm not going to pay your bills for you.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to want it. And Ryan is here. He can help you. He's been helping me. He's amazing. And I've seen him help so many other people and change their lives through credit because it is a big deal. You need it if you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, if you want a better life, you need to have good credit. So it's really important. And that is why I wanted to have Ryan here as my first guest on my podcast. And it's just really important, guys. And you just have to want to do the work behind it. So Ryan, can you tell us more about your?
I want to end with this story first before you ask the last thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had a guy who sold his company for $220 million.
Wow.
He's trying to buy 2 $8 million condos in Florida. Couldn't get approved.
Wow.
He asked me to come in. I sit down with him and his staff. And he says, I can't get approved. I don't understand. I have all this money. I said, all right, let's look at your profile. I looked at the profile. I said, you don't pay people back. And he says, I don't care. I got all this money. I said, then pay cash. He says, well, I don't want to pay cash. I'm like, well, you don't pay people back, so you can't borrow money. So you choose which one's it going to be. His entire staff was like, oh, my God. And he looked at me and he goes, what do I got to do? I'm like, you're going to do everything I tell you for 6 months. 4 months later, guess who got approved?
Wow.
And not only did he get approved, but he paid me twice what my fee was. He doubled my fee because I did it as fast as I did it faster than what I told them I would do, which doesn't always work out. But I will guarantee you that if I don't get you a result within a time frame that I think is reasonable, I will work for free until I get you there.
Wow.
Because I guarantee results.
It is, guys.
But it's documented and it's recorded. So you can't lie. When I do the first credit profile review, I record it and I'll say, hey, cool, Christine, here's your scores. Here's your factors. Here's where you're at. This is what we got to do. I send you the recording and I'll say, Christine Padilla, November 19th, 2025. And it's the recording and it shows the scores with the date.
Yes.
90 days later, 180 days later, if I don't deliver, guess who can't lie? Me. But if I said, Christine, you got to do this, this, and this, and you don't do it, guess who can't hide?
Me.
You put that rim down, I'm like, sorry. Nope, guess what? I told you what to do and you didn't listen.
Yeah. This
And
is
Marco
true.
was listening too, so we got two of us now against you.
Oh, yeah. Ryan, I need
Yes,
you
sir.
to tell people how they can learn more about you, how they can learn more about your program, and how they can get in touch with you directly.
Sure. So the easiest thing is just to shoot me an email, info@iteachcredit. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, TikTok. My biggest platform is TikTok. My daughter insisted, my stepdaughter, 3 years ago now, she insisted I create a video. That took off. But I have 20 imposter accounts. If you go to YouTube, I only have like 3,700 followers there. I have 146,000 followers on TikTok. If you go to YouTube, though, if you search I Teach Credit, everything is branded like this. Now, all my apparel has the blue. All my logos, they're all like that. They don't have the blue. I just did this for all my apparel and stuff. But shoot me an email, info@iteachcredit. Just say you found me on Christine Padilla's podcast, and let's set up a call. I'll give you a quick phone call. We'll talk about it, and we'll see what situation. Because I can tell you right now, if you're broke, I'm not taking your money. If you're broke, I'm going to put you into my school community. $20 a month. Group coaching every single Monday through Friday. I go live at 8:30. I do credit profile. What's that?
Well worth the $20.
Oh, yeah. And here's the cool thing. If you refer people to school, my community, I pay you $8 of the 20. I pay 40% commission.
Wow. See that?
Because I want to create a community and I want to bring people in.
Absolutely. That's what it's all
So
about.
that's the best place to find me. But yeah, shoot me an email. And just remember, guys, I mean, like, you want to hear a funny story? I was in Vegas with this card right here. This is the new platinum.
It's got every card.
I do. And that's the funny thing is this is the shiny object that captures everybody's attention. But here's the reality. It's only good if you use it wisely and responsibly. Because if not, this thing could be a crippling scenario.
This
All
is
right.
true. Well, Ryan, I know it's your birthday and we've been on quite some time right now. So I don't want to take you from your wife. I know she made you a lovely dinner. I really appreciate you being on Deals and Heels and our podcast where we are empowering women and changing lives. And again, everyone who's listening and needs help, reach out to Ryan at I Teach Credit. And there's no excuse. He's going to help you. He's here. There's no excuse. So
I want to end with this. I make every woman a single mom or any single woman who's trying to really build and do something. And this brings out a lot of emotion, both for me and for them. But I literally make, like, you can hear some women are like really struggling and they're really in a tough position. And sometimes they just need to hear it. But I make them repeat 3 things. I am loved. Somebody loves you. I am strong.
I love you all.
Yeah. I love you too. I am strong and I deserve better. But the only way to get better is to do better.
Absolutely.
And I make them repeat it, and half of them won't even say I deserve better. They start crying. And
You hear it, ladies?
That means they feel it, and inside they have that burning desire. They know that they can do it. They just have to own it.
And thank you for saying that because, you know, my brand Deals and Heels, and that's what I'm all about. Because of my background, I want to help empower women. I want to bring people like Ryan on here to help you to change your life because you are important, you are loved, and you do deserve better. So we will end on that note. I thank you again, Ryan Alexander with I Teach Credit for being with us. And have a happy birthday. Mwah.
Thank you very much. You guys have an awesome night.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye. There we go.